Chapter 4: Establishment of Greek and Roman Empires and its contribution. First of all, let us know about Greek city-states and cultural contribution. Introduction. The Greeks laid the foundation to all other civilizations of Europe. As famous historian Arnold Toynbee, as you have studied in first chapter about Arnold Toynbee's definition about history, so he told that European civilization developed in the body of Greek society, like a child in the womb of the mother. The contribution of the Greeks to the world culture is immense or very large, or you can tell us it is vast. Geography of Greece. So this Greece can be called as Hellas. So he tells that Greece or Hellas, as the early Greeks called it, is a peninsula. Peninsula means a land surrounded by water. So Greek is a peninsula of about 25,000 square miles and extended from mainland of Europe into Mediterranean Sea. So this Greece lies between Aegean in the sense Aegean Sea, and Adriatic in the sense this Mediterranean Sea, or it can be known as Italian Sea and Ionian Sea. Geography has very much influenced the Greek civilization. The mainland of Greece is full of rugged means rough mountain. The soil was unsuitable for agriculture. It is a land of chaotic or disordered mountain ranges, which is land of Greece. So Greece land is chaotic mountain ranges which divided into hundreds of small independent self-centered states. The rivers in Greece are small and unfit for navigation also. But it is usually and truly said that while the mountains separated the Greeks, the seas united them. Got the meaning? Though this mountain separates the Greeks, but the seas they used to united whole the country. No place in Greece is more than 40 miles away from the sea. Aegean Sea. So this Aegean Sea which I shown you in the map, so this Aegean Sea became a Greek lake, and islands formed stepping stone to Asia Minor and Egypt. So seas have played an important role in the life and culture of the Greeks. Hellenes is nothing but it is also known as ancient Greece people. So Greeks were originally called Hellenes because they claimed descent from a common ancestor, Hellenes. The Hellenes later came to be called as Greeks by Italians. Classical civilization. The term classical is used to typify or represent the climax in the development of ancient civilization. The early Greeks. Listen carefully. The Greeks came from the north, probably from the Danube River Valley. So these Greeks, they used to speak an Indo-European language. Each group that came into an Aegean region had its own name, like Aegean, Ionians and Dorians. Soon all began to call themselves as Hellenes, which means the Greeks. Here you need to note the point. Initially, Greek was not completely occupied by any tribe like that of India. It tells us Greece was not occupied by any tribe. The occupation was spread over centuries. From the evidence available, the migrations were well underway by 1400 BCE. The early Greeks, like the Aryans in India, lived in tribes, each composed of number of families under a leader. About 1200 BCE, they attacked the city of Troy. Now we are speaking about Greek. So about 1200 BCE, these Greeks were attacked by the city of Troy or Turkey. 10 years siege or blockade. The final destruction of this city or the city Greeks was described by Homer. He was a blind poet. In one of his epics poem like Iliad. Epic poem means a long poem, and the poem named Iliad was sung by Homer. Next, mixed race developed because of intermarriages between the locals and the conquerors. Next, let's know about the city-states, as these city-states also known as polis. The city-states was the outstanding political achievements of the Greeks. Topographical features or physical features of the country Greece and the tribal characteristics of the peoples were important factors in development of the city-states. The polis, or you can tell as city-states, originated as fortified or military fort sites but later was interpreted or converted as sovereign state. First of all, it was a military fort or military state. Later, it was converted into sovereign state or which has a supreme rulers. So, the city-states included the fort, the city, and the surrounding countryside. Around 800 BCE, a group of Greek villages began joining into larger units to form city-states. At the highest point in a city, an acropolis or citadel, or it can tell as one built on a hill. So it tells that acropolis or citadels was built for defense, and the city spread around the acropolis. So you can expect a question that name the important city-states. The important city-states are Sparta, Athens, Macedonia, Corinth, and Thebes are important city-states. Though the Greeks' cities were independent, jealous, and quarrelsome, all the Greeks strongly believed that they were all Hellenes or Greece, and the bond which united them was a common language and literature. One more factor that united them was the worship of gods like Zeus, Apollo, Athena. Next, forms of government. At first, city-states were ruled by monarchs or kings. Each king or monarch began to govern his city-states with the assistance of a council consisting of nobles. Then the wealthy landowner took over the political power and abolished monarchy or kingship. With the increase in the population of the cities, trade, commerce, and industry expanded and the middle class developed. This class, in the sense middle class, joined with poor farmers to lessen the power of landowners. This conflict resulted in the rise of dictators or cruel or oppressive rule, or you can tell as tyrants, as Greeks were called them. But there were changes particularly with regard to Sparta and Athens. There were the small city-states which we have studied before. Sparta turned into military state. Her government was ruled by few nobles. Two of these nobles became the king. Athenian democracy. Athens registered a remarkable progress in politics, laws, literature, art, science, and philosophy. Athenians, so the one who belongs to Athens, Athenians were fond of trying political experiments. Monarchy and oligarchy. Oligarchy in the sense a small group of people have a controlling a country. Monarchy or oligarchy did not suit their temperament or nature, so they discarded them. With the contribution of lawgivers, namely Draco, Solon, and Cleisthenes, democracy became into existence at Athens. So let's know about Draco, one of the lawgivers of Athenian democracy. Draco, a nobleman, gave the Athenians a written code of law. The Code of Draco provided safety to the people from the tyranny as cruel or oppressive rule of the king or this monarch of dishonest and corrupt judges. But Draco's code did little to help the poor farmers who were at the mercy of rich nobles. The term Draconian law is derived from this context. Next lawgiver of Athenian democracy is Solon. Solon, considered to be a wise man, introduced constitutional reform of democratic character. He prevented chaos or disorder. His law, in the sense Solon's law or reforms, liberated or freed the enslaved farmers, or you can tell as the farmers who lost human rights, declared debt slavery as illegal, and cancelled all mortgages of land. Solon helped Athenian merchants by introducing coin currencies and encouraged foreign artisans or workers with skilled trade to settle in Athens. He brought about a system by which the people as a whole gained the power of electing their magistrates and judging their work. His reforms benefited both middle and poor class Athenians. Next, with regard to Cleisthenes, he is one of the lawmakers of Athenian democracy. So Cleisthenes, from an uninfluential or powerful family, broke the power of ruling clans by granting citizenship rights to male adults. Thus, poor people also got the right to vote. He reorganized state on democratic trend. He ended tribal nature of government and expanded the constitution. He also tried his best to break the power of the nobility or goodness in the assembly. The golden age of Pericles. Pericles is a Greek statesman and is very skilled. So it's here in 469 to 429 BCE. Athenian democracy reached its greatest height under the leadership of Pericles. He was a great Gradicus, or you can tell as one who thorough in politics. He was the great grandson of Cleisthenes. It was he who completed the work of laying the foundation of democracy in Athens. He deprived, or he is a person in need of Argopagus, a legislative body, of its political powers and transferred the same to the Council of 500. So this Council of 500 is the lower house of the legislature in the Greece. This body, in the sense Argopagus, suggested measures to the ecclesia, the assembly. It was freely discussed by all the citizens of Athens and the laws were passed. A board of 10 generals elected by the assembly acted as a kind of cabinet. Pericles was the president of this board for about 15 years. The generals were responsible to the assembly and thus could not become the dictators. Another important feature of Periclean age was a jury system. Every year, about 5,000 jurors were elected for a term of 1 year. Being a great lover of democracy, he, in the sense Pericles, wanted even the poorest citizen to take interest in political affairs. This is what we call today the direct democracy. Athens, just now we are learning about Athens democracy. Athens, in the sense, one of the city-states in Greece. So, Athens, which was destroyed during Persian War, was rebuilt by Pericles. Athens became a center of progress in art and architecture. Very large public buildings were constructed with beautified Athens. The famous Parthenon, or the Temple of Virgin, was built of colored marble stones. It was most beautiful temple. Pericles also patronized music. To protect his beautiful city from foreign invaders, he built long walls connecting the city with the Port Paris, or seaport. The age of Pericles produced great philosophers like Socrates and his pupil, his student Plato. It was golden age of Greek plays. Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euphrates were great dramatists who wrote tragic plays. Herodotus, 484 to 424 BCE, is regarded as the father of history, as you all know that before. Thucydides, 471 to 400 BCE, was another famous historian of the Periclean age. Poets like Sappho and Pindar lived during this period. Hippocrates, who is regarded as the father of medicine, practiced in this age, in the sense Periclean age. Therefore, Periclean age of Athens is regarded as the school of Hellas and the Golden Age. Next, we are going to learn about the Persian and Peloponnesian Wars. In the 5th century BCE, the Athenian democracy was engaged in 2 wars, which spelled the end of its greatness. Firstly, Iranian or Persian great king Darius' invasion. Although the whole of Greece united to fight the Persian, the long stretched battle, hence called Marathon battle, ended in the defeat of the Greek. The Persians burned the city of Athens. They were finally compelled to withdraw. Secondly, the Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE, between Athens and Sparta. So these were the city-states in Greece. The Persian War was between Athens and Sparta, ended the victory for the latter, in the sense Sparta. It spelled doom or downfall of Athenian democracy. Peloponnesian War marked the beginning of the end of the glory that was Greece. In short, I will be telling the meaning. There was a 2 war, Persian and Peloponnesian War. First, I'll tell you this Iranian or Persian great king Darius invasion. Although the whole of the Greece united to fight the Persian, the long stretch battle was held at the battle known as the Macedonian battle and ended in the defeat of the Greeks. So, these Persians were won in that battle. So, what they done? They burned the city of Athens. Finally, these Persian or Iranian were compelled to withdraw the city. Secondly, there was a war named as Peloponnesian War between the two city-states in the sense Athens and Sparta. So, who win? This Sparta won the battle. And later, it has told that Athens were the democracy. Due to the success of Sparta, the Peloponnesian War marked the beginning of the end of the glory of the Greece. Macedonian Empire. This is one of the city-states, okay? So, while the city-states of Greeks were quarreling among themselves, Macedonia in northeastern Greece became an important kingdom under Philip II, 359 to 336 BCE. So, this Philip II was an able and energetic diplomat and also a soldier. He prepared a plan for united Greeks to fight the common enemy, the Persian Empire or the Iranian. Before he could execute this plan, he was assassinated or murdered on the occasion of his daughter's wedding. Alexander the Great, 336 to 323 BCE. Alexander is one of the greatest names in the history of the world. He owed much to his father Philip II, and Philip II he was the king of Macedonia. He became greater than his father. He wanted to conquer the world. He succeeded his father at the age of 20, and he had been tutored by one of the greatest philosophers, Aristotle. He compelled the entire Greece to accept his leadership with skill and industry. With 35,000 soldiers, he marched against the Persian Empire or Iranian Empire. He defeated them in the battles of Granius, Issus, and Arable. Alexander conquered Egypt and built a new city called Alexandria at the mouth of Nile Delta. With this success, he marched into India across the Karakoram mountain. He defeated King Porus in the Battle of Hydaspes or the Battle of Jhelum, 326 BCE. He sailed down the Indus, but he could not bring his Indian campaign to a victorious conclusion. The army, exhausted, refused to march forward. They were scared of facing the powerful Nandas. Nandas were Indian kings. His effort to inspire the soldiers to continue the expedition became futile or surrender. But at the height of his power, he died of fever at the age of 33, that's 323 BCE in Babylon. After his death, civil war went on for 40 years, and his empire was divided into three parts under Seleucus, Ptolemy, and Antigonus. General Seleucus, who got Persia, later attacked India, but he was defeated by Chandragupta Maurya. Ptolemy ruled Egypt and Phoenicia. He built a temple at Alexandria, the city of Alexander in Egypt, which was dedicated to Greek goddess of art, literature, and learning, so it was known as museum. Macedonia and Greece came under the control of Antigonus. Alexander's concept of world could not withstand the test of time as it had no firm political or economic basis. Nevertheless, he aided in the admirable task of spreading Hellenic civilization or Hellas or Greek civilization. He founded, in the sense Alexander founded, nearly 70 cities. He and his soldiers married Persian women and worshipped Persian gods. He encouraged Greek merchants to trade with Asiatic countries. A happy union of East and West led to the development of Greece-oriented culture.